Welcome to Next Level Greatness, the podcast. 3 things that made 2023 amazing. That's what we're going to be talking about on this last episode of 2023. Holy moly. Do you feel this way? This year went by so quickly. Last year, at the end of the year, I set the intention and I went through my process that I teach in Unchained, but I went through it myself. And I came up with the words holistic prosperity. You know how you're supposed to come up with a word of the year? Well, I had 2 words, holistic prosperity. I didn't want just to grow my business. I didn't want just health. I wanted the whole thing. I wanted to prosper on every level. For the past 10 years or so, I've always put health as my very top priority because I understood and understand that health has to come first. However, even though in 2022, health was at the very top of my list, it was my number 1 goal, I didn't make it my very top priority. And I remember it was also 2022, the beginning of 2022. It was during the Chinese New Year. I took a course with a woman who was focusing on the Chinese New Year. And it was my year. It was the year of the tiger. And she said, you are going to experience a windfall of success, but you have to be careful with your health. And so I went into 2022 and I was like, this is my year. This is the year of the tiger. I feel so good. I'm so focused. And my health was not where I wanted it to be. I didn't have that much capacity. And so starting in 2023, I still didn't have that much capacity. I had the big goals. I had my podcast already. I was already teaching my programs. And when I went through the process of goal setting, I'm like, this is the one thing that needs to take priority for real, not just saying it, not just, putting it as a goal. It had to become the main focus throughout, always. And so that set me on the path of, really, it was a path of discovery for me. I made it a priority. What that looked like was, number 1, truly listening to my body and honoring when I was tired. I was like, okay, I'm going to rest. And when I had energy, I would go. One of the most difficult things for me was always overexerting myself. Like I got all this energy and I'm like, I'm just going to go, right? Because you get so excited that you have this energy that you didn't have before. And so I would go and I would overdo it. Then I would get knocked on my butt for days. And then I'm like, okay, I got a little bit of energy. I think I learned the lesson this time. And then I'd get knocked on my butt again. But really, I learned the lesson this time. And that just happened through a lot of experience, a lot of falling down, getting up, falling down and getting up. And that's one of the things that I love about myself, that I really will get up every single time and I will eventually learn the lesson. And that's a question for you. Will you eventually learn the lesson? And when is it time to say, okay, I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to move forward. I was in a lot of different spaces. And one of the beautiful things that really grew for me or blossomed, that's the word, for me were my relationships. And I was in several spaces where I had friends, mastermind sisters, that reflected back to me the fact that I would say that I didn't have a lot of energy. What I was doing by constantly repeating, I don't have a lot of energy, I don't have a lot of capacity, I was simply becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? It became a self-fulfilling prophecy, and there was danger in that. I was speaking that into existence. And so I was caught in a loop. I was caught in a loop in my mind. And even though I've taken the Gupta program, which talks about the loop in your mind with the limbic system, I didn't know how to get out of it. That program, the Gupta program, actually did help me, but I knew that I needed something else. And this is how manifestation works. I was listening to something. I get emails from Catherine Zinkina, the manifestation babe, all the time. I usually don't look at them. And this time I happened to listen to the podcast that I followed the link that was in the email, and it was actually a video with her and Dr. Connelly, the creator of rapid resolution therapy. And I listened and watched the podcast as he helped her with a certain issue that has nothing to do with health. And I thought to myself, this is what I need. This is my next move. I booked 3 sessions. It was $4,500. And I was like, man, that's a big investment, right? For this guy that's talking about, this stuff. I don't know if it's going to help me, but I'm willing to try. And I did it. And I have to be honest, the first time after we had our 3 sessions, I was like, I don't know if this worked or if this was silly or what. But 3 weeks later, I felt a huge shift in me. I simply shifted. I got out of my loop that I'm tired. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. And the major shift was that he made me, I think he reprogrammed my subconscious really, but he made me see that being tired after exertion is completely normal. And he used this metaphor of lions and tigers in nature need to rest. And that's what I was doing. He's like, I don't see that you're doing anything wrong. Lions and tigers need rest after they've chased the zebras. And that little thing started what I can truly, truly call my energy healing, or just my healing, because I was already sleeping well. I was already taking my supplements through my functional medicine practitioner, which is really my husband, who's a functional medicine practitioner. I was meditating. I was listening to my body when it came to exercise. I was also eating according to my metabolic type. I really do, quote unquote, all the things, but there was this component that was missing. 2023 was the year that feels so good to say, I really came home to my body. I also explored different modalities. I got into somatics. I read different books, but truly, the rapid resolution therapy really changed the game for me. But it wasn't just that. It was many things that I did, but I have to say that was the game changer. So what happened was that my appointment with Dr. Connelly, or my appointments with Dr. Connelly, my sessions with him were, I still remember, the 20th, the 25th, the 26th of May. In June, I was like, is this a fluke? I'm feeling so good. Is this a fluke? And then it lasted, and I went away to an event, and I was like, okay, normally after events, I'm wiped for a month, but I wasn't wiped. I was like, okay, all right, this is new, this is different. And so I was able to increase my capacity. I was able to do more. When I had started the year, I was only able to teach or do pretty much anything on Zoom for a total of 2 times a week. And that was a struggle. You're listening to this maybe around the last week of December 2023. And I'm able to have 1 or 2 Zoom calls per day. And I do listen to my body and I take time, but my capacity has increased so much. My health has improved so much. I could not have imagined that I would be feeling this good by December 2023 in just 1 year. I cannot express to you the joy that I feel, because there's been a domino effect If I had put on top of my goals list something about business or whatever, money, and I hadn't put health first, even if I had accomplished the business goal or the money goals, and if I didn't have my health, then what the heck is the point? Yes, money is important because it allows you to pay for things and to have nice experiences and to pay for the health stuff if you need. But I understand after not having health, that health is the most important thing. And so the domino effect was that when I took care of my health and I did whatever it takes, I do whatever it takes. And sometimes that means resting. Sometimes that means trying this modality, that modality, investing in this, investing in that, to find the thing that actually works for me. Because I put my health first, the domino effect was that I increased my capacity, I increased my energy, which allowed me to do more in business. And so the second most beautiful thing that happened is that I decided to go all in because I was able to. I enjoyed my business even more. So even when I wasn't feeling that great, I felt this call in my soul to teach and to offer my programs. But that, in case you didn't know, when I would teach, I would have to rest. I mean, fully rest. Like I'm talking about simply sitting outside, sitting or being on the couch, doing nothing else, because I had to recover. I had to use that time for recovery. And now I'm able to teach. If you haven't noticed, I have podcast guests, which I was not able to do before because I didn't have the capacity. And now I'm having the time of my flippin' life while I'm still honoring my energy and my body, and I'm still aware of how I'm feeling without being over vigilant, because I had become over vigilant, and with good reason. There just came a point where that overvigilance of my energy and how I was feeling wasn't serving me anymore, where it became a crutch and it was holding me back. But I absolutely see and understand that it served a purpose, because I didn't know how to regulate my energy. I didn't know how to turn the dial up or down, or like a thermostat. There was only go or completely stop. And now I know how to regulate myself so that I can manage my energy. And yes, of course, I'm human. Sometimes I'm like, ooh, I kind of overdid it today. Like when the other day I was so into human design, I could not stop learning. I get addicted. And so I just kept reading and reading and reading. And I knew that my brain had had enough, right? But I kept on and on and on because I couldn't stop learning. I wanted to keep learning. I wanted to keep knowing more. And the next day I was just really tired, so I rested. Lions and tigers need rest. But one of the things that made my 2023 great was that I had a moment where I decided to go all in, and I realized, gosh, I just haven't been all in. I couldn't have been all in because I didn't have the capacity. But something happened where I just woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, it is time for Barbie freaking Kalev to come back. And here I am. 2024 is going to be phenomenal. This year was phenomenal. 2024, I'm going to blow your freaking socks off. Let's freaking go. That's who's back. And it feels so good and so aligned because 1974, when I was born, to 2023, I made a post about that. That was just a warm up. Ooh, just gave myself goosebumps. What you see today is me And all my lessons, all my mistakes, all my triumphs, all my celebrations, all the stuff I've gone through, I want to say all the shit I've been through, the good, the bad, the ugly, the magnificent, that all has made me into the person that I am today. And it is with that wisdom, with that knowledge, with that being, that I am stepping into 2024 so freaking powerfully. It's already done. I've already stepped into that person. It's already who I am. In 2024, I am intending to leave a mark in the coaching industry. And this is not about ego. This is not about being better than someone else. I couldn't care less about those conversations. It's about being my best, making the most impact that I know that I can make, and doing things my way. It's living what I've been preaching. I just didn't have the energy to do it, but I do now. And I can't wait. I cannot wait for the women who are going to walk with me. So freaking excited. Okay, the last thing, and really my list could go on, but I said 3 things that made 2023 great. The last thing was that in order to increase my energy capacity, I had to let go of some baggage. There were some things that were weighing me down, and I knew that. I just wasn't willing at the time to let some things go. So without getting into the details, I had a friend who basically broke up with me. She just said, "You're not as available as I'd like a friend to be, so I can't be your friend. Period. Full stop." I was like, wait, but I care about you. And that was the biggest blessing for me, because what I realized was that this wasn't, well, it wasn't obviously a real friendship, and it wasn't a relationship that gave me energy. I want to give credit to Andrea Crowder, who says like something in activity, something's either energy rich or it's not. And I think she credits someone else for saying that. But I love the expression. I realized that there were certain relationships in my life that just weren't energy rich. And in human design, I'm a generator. We are supposed to do what lights us up, period. And I definitely wasn't. There were a lot of things that I was still doing that didn't light me up, including having certain relationships. And so this one was kind of forced upon me, right? This person decided that she didn't want to be my friend because I wasn't available the way that she needed me to be available. And I was like, whew, that feels good, actually. That feels freeing. I'm like, I could do this with other areas of my life. And I have. So nope, I didn't have the catalyst wasn't me being courageous, but the rest was. And that lesson, that doing things that you feel an obligation to doing, that is actually sucking your energy. That was certain. I knew that. I read about it. I was told about it, but I just wasn't willing to let go. But I'm glad that I did, because I really have this spaciousness. I've called in other beautiful, authentic friendships and relationships and experiences. And I know that 2024 is going to be, it's going to be my year. Like, really, this is the year. The last 49 years really were just a warm-up. I invite you to do this process. I've got actually a few options for you. One of them is a tiny little recording on goal setting and vision boarding for a tiny amount. I'll put the link below, and it's just an audio recording. Then there's my beautiful soul program called Unchained. It is a goal setting and manifestation program, but really it's a program about becoming, shedding all the layers of conditioning and what you should do and what you were told to do, and becoming who you know you're meant to become. And In 2024, starting in January, I'm offering a mastermind called Ascension. It's for the woman in business who, like me, has her soul on fire. And she may feel that there are puzzle pieces that are kind of floating around, and yet you're a badass. You are powerful. That you're here to make a difference, but you're looking for a mastermind community, and if I'm your person, so that you can take your business to the next level. 2024 is our freaking year. So I invite you to send me a message if you know that we're meant to work together. We're meant to do big things. I'm doing this in 2024. And this is an invitation to join me. I wish you the most beautiful, the most epic, the most magical year. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being on this journey with me, for listening, whether you're listening for the first time or you've been listening since the first episode. As of today, we are listened to in 24 countries. That makes me just tear up with joy. I'm so grateful for you. I do not take the fact that you're here lightly. So let's have an incredible year and say thank you to 2023 and thank you. I'll see you next year.